The Galactic Interspecies Academy floated in the void between star systems, a massive station where the galaxy's future diplomats, warriors, and scholars learned to coexist. Among its gleaming corridors walked species from 1,000 worlds, some with scales, others with feathers, and a few with forms that defied easy description. But only one human had ever been admitted to the Predator Studies program. Mira Solon was an anomaly. She stood barely 5.5 feet tall, her frame slight compared to the towering carnivores that filled the Academy's combat wings. The admissions board had laughed when she applied. Humans were classified as persistence hunters at best, endurance specialists who chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They weren't ambush predators like the Kresh, weren't pack coordinators like the Varath, and certainly weren't apex hunters like the fearsome Draknir. But Mira had passed every entrance exam with perfect scores. More importantly, she had done something no other applicant had managed in 300 years. She had looked the chief instructor, a 17-foot Draknir with teeth like daggers, directly in his primary eyes and smiled. "I'm not here to be like you," she had said. "I'm here to show you what you've been missing." That had been 6 months ago. Now Instructor Vorex stood before his class of predator cubs, juveniles from 17 different species, each born to hunt, and scanned the training arena with growing concern. Every seat was filled except one, Mira's seat. In 6 months, she had never missed a single lesson. Not when she'd broken her arm during grappling exercises with a Kresh twice her size. Not when station gravity had malfunctioned, leaving her vomiting in the corridors while her inner ear adjusted. Not even during the festival week when most students vanished to celebrate their homeworld traditions. Reek, a young Draknir with midnight blue scales and amber eyes, raised his clawed hand. "Instructor, where is Mira?" Vorex's tail twitched with irritation. "How should I know where the human—" "She's never late," interrupted Sis, a serpentine Vorath who sat coiled in the back. "Something's wrong." Murmurs rippled through the class. The predator cubs exchanged glances, an unusual moment of unity among species that had spent millennia as rivals, competitors, and sometimes enemies. "Settle down," Vorex growled. "We'll proceed with—" But Reek was already standing, his nostrils flaring as he tasted the air. "She's not in the medical wing. I can't catch her scent anywhere in the nearby sectors." "You tracked her?" Vorex's eyes narrowed. "We all did." This came from Kratha, a Kresh whose fur bristled with concern. "After the first month, we started memorizing everyone's scent patterns. It's what pack hunters do. And Mira's isn't just absent, it stops at the junction near the archive levels." Vorex felt something unfamiliar stir in his chest. These cubs, these competitive, territorial, proud young predators, had formed a pack, and somehow the small human had become part of it. "Fine," he rumbled. 10 minutes, find her. But if this is some juvenile prank—" The cubs were already moving. Rake led the search, his keen Draknir senses picking through the layered scents of the station's ventilation system. Behind him, the other cubs spread out in a coordinated pattern that would have made their instructors weep with pride if those instructors could have seen past species boundaries. They found her 3 levels below the archive, in a forgotten maintenance corridor that hadn't appeared on active station maps in decades. She was unconscious, slumped against a wall panel, her tablet lying broken beside her. But what made Reich's blood run cold was the gash on her forehead and the spreading pool of crimson beneath her. "Mira!" He rushed forward, his claws retracting instinctively as he reached her. The scent of human blood filled his nostrils, sweet and copper, nothing like the acidic tang of Draknir or the alkaline bite of Kresh. Her eyes fluttered open. "Reek, I was researching—" She winced. There was a malfunction in the gravity plating. "Threw me into the wall." "Don't talk!" Sis had already wrapped around her legs, using his body heat to combat shock. Kratha was contacting medical emergency, but it was what Rake saw in Mira's eyes that struck him hardest. Not fear, not pain, relief. "You came looking," she whispered. "I knew you would." "Of course we did," Reek said, surprised by the fierce protectiveness in his own voice. "Your pack." Later, in the medical wing, Instructor Vorex stood beside Mira's recovery bed. The human was already arguing with the doctors about discharge times, her head wrapped in regenerative bandages. "You created something unexpected here," he told her quietly. Mira grinned, that same fearless expression she'd worn during her interview. "That's what humans do, instructor. We're not the fastest or the strongest. We're not born with claws or venom or armored scales." She glanced toward the waiting room, where 17 different species sat together, waiting for news about their packmate. "But we're really, really good at making friends out of strangers, at building bridges between those who think they have nothing in common, at turning rivals into family." She met Vorex's gaze. "You asked what humans bring to the predator classes? That's it. We remind everyone that the deadliest hunting strategy isn't stalking alone. It's knowing someone will always come looking when you're lost." Vorex's tail coiled in what might have been a Draknir smile. "You missed one lesson today, Mira Sullen." "I know. What was it?" "Pack dynamics and loyalty instincts across species." He turned to leave, pausing at the door. "Turns out, you taught it better than I ever could." When the cubs finally rushed in, ignoring every hospital protocol, Mira greeted them with a smile that could have lit up the void of space itself. And in that moment,